Hello, welcome to Michelle's Sews again. I'm Michelle. It's Friday, so you know what that means. It's another hashtag Friday Sews. So if that sounds interesting to you, then please stay tuned. Okay, so Friday Sews. Thank you, Jen from Today in Jen's Sewing Room for starting the hashtag. If you're not already familiar, where have you been? But the hashtag is something that is many of the YouTube sewing community participates, and we talk about what we've been working on, what we have coming up, and a little bit about life. I'll tell you what I've been working on. It's one project, and it is for the hashtag Sew Romp Jump Play 22. It's hosted by V from 85th and WAIWT. Check out her YouTube channel. I will link it in the description box below. But I have agreed to be one of her ambassador bloggers for the month for her challenge. And basically the challenge is to sew up a romper, a play suit, a jumpsuit, overalls for National Jumpsuit Day, which is October 26th. That's the reveal date. So go and check out V's intro video. I'll put it on in the description box. But I am one of her official vloggers. I had signed up to do my reveal on October 16th. Which is Sunday. I reached out to V today because I'm definitely not going to make that deadline. And she graciously accepted a reprieve from me. So I am actually going to be posting on October 26th. I have already made my toile. I went ahead and made it complete. I was going to just make a fit muslin, but I picked up this fabric and it was inexpensive because it was really on sale at Joann's. But once I started laying it out, I was like, you know what? I really like that fabric. So maybe I'll make a wearable muslin. And unfortunately, it's not that. So I'm a little bummed about it, but I did learn some new things. So I'm going to talk you through that. This is my fabric. It's this beautiful galaxy print. It's a cotton. I think this is the Joann's premium cotton. So it's not like stiff like a quilting cotton. It's really nice. And I don't know, it's probably hard to see, but let's see, where can I find a piece? Some of the silver in here, like this silver here, is actually metallic. It's got a little bit of a sheen to it. And I just thought that made it really fun. And so once I started cutting it out, I decided to go ahead and do the full shabam and line it and put the zipper in and everything. So I did all that. This is my first time ever doing a fully lined bodice. I will say that the instructions for this pattern, sorry, I didn't even tell you what the pattern was. This is the McCalls 7909. I will put a picture of the envelope cover here. And I just love the cover image. I love the fabric that they used. I think it looks amazing on the model. And although I knew that I wouldn't want that deep of a V, I went ahead and started out that way and figured I would make the adjustment once I made it. So I did the fully lined bodice. I put the zipper in, I hemmed it, I hemmed the sleeves, I hemmed the legs. I did everything. I hand stitched the lining in. So a first for a fully lined bodice and a first for hand stitching on a me-made garment. So I really put a lot of effort into this. I call this a slow sewing project, even though I did it in one day, because I really paid attention to the details. I followed the instructions. I only had problems with one part, and it's going to be, I'm not going to be able to show it to you. I'm not going to be able to show it to you because I've already unpicked this, but in the pattern, so it's got these really deep sleeves, and in the pattern it has a panel that goes on the inside from front to back that kind of covers, it's like a modesty panel, but it's from the side, so that when your arm is up and people can't see what they're not supposed to see inside your sleeve. I thought that, so when I first tried this on, I thought it might be a little snug because the measurements were just a smidge smaller than my measurements. It was not just a smidge small. I couldn't even come close to zipping this up. I could get it I could pull it together at the top of the zipper, but from there to my waist, I couldn't, it was like that. The gap was too big for me to even think about modifying the pattern. So I'm really kind of bummed about that, because the measurements in the size chart made it seem like it wouldn't be that big of a difference. So what I thought I would do is I took out those side panels because I thought maybe that was restricting it and making it tighter. Even after taking those out, I still wasn't able to get it zipped up. So I don't think that I am even gonna try modifying this pattern, because I did make the biggest size and the gap is just, to me, it's too big to figure out how to modify the pattern. So I'm gonna do something different, and I will tell you what that is on October 26th. In the short term, what I'm gonna tell you is I did pick this apart. I took those side panels out, and to get the side panels out, I had to take the inside lining out. So I don't have this to show you, but I do have a picture. I did take a picture. Unfortunately, I did shorten the legs of the jumpsuit because that's all I could get out of the fabric that I had. Another first for me is I laid the pattern out on the fabric according to the layout pattern in the pattern. I've never done that before, but I wanted to make sure that I maximized the fabric. So I do think this is a pretty pattern. I am disappointed that, as usual, the Big Four doesn't make things to fit my body. I was hopeful on this one. It should have been closer than it was. So it's unusual also because from what I've heard and from my one other experience recently, the Big Four generally have a lot of ease in their measurements. This one, not so much. So this isn't gonna work for me. I am most definitely going to be using this fabric for something else. This is just a part because I took the lining out and the lining put the seams together. You know how it goes. But I am most definitely going to be using this fabric because I think it is just fantastic. So I'll figure something out for that. And I think I figured out what I'm gonna make in place of this for my jumpsuit. I will tell you, the one thing that did not need to be fixed is the shoulders. The shoulder seam actually hit me right on the tip of my shoulder like it's supposed to. So although I've been having trouble recently with the shoulder seams being off because of my narrow sloping shoulders, that particular fit issue was not an issue with this pattern. It was just the waist really was the biggest issue. I didn't have, I didn't have a problem with the hips. I was able to get the zipper up past my hips. It stopped at the waist, and I didn't have trouble up top. I was able to get the top of the zipper. If I pulled it together, I couldn't zip it up, but I could pull this together behind my neck. But I could not get this part together, even close. So yeah, that's disappointing. So that's what I've been working on. What I have coming up, actually, hold please. Here are those side panels that I took out. So this is what the side panel looks like, and you can see it's shaped for the bust, and that went like this, inside the bodice so that you couldn't see through the sleeve. And I thought that might be restricting it, but that wasn't the problem. Fully lined. Quite impressed with myself on that. Anyway, let me jump backwards. The only place where the instructions were very confusing to me was inserting this. I finally figured it out, but that's the only place. The rest of the instructions were pretty clear. And I think the reason that it was confusing is because you line this first, right? And then, so this has a seam already because it's lined, and then you're connecting it to the inside of an existing seam because you're inserting it and you're connecting it to this, it's gonna be hard to see, but this is the sleeve and this is the bodice. It's just this strip, and you're connecting that panel in the seam here. So you're connecting a seam to a seam that's already sewn. So that seemed confusing to me. So this is the seam of the bodice to the sleeve, and you're connecting the seam of this to that, and it remains raw. And because I've never lined anything before, it was confusing to me, because then I didn't realize until I was there that the lining of the bodice piece was then gonna fold over and cover that raw seam. So it all came together beautifully in the end. It just took me a minute to work that out. All right. The other thing that I've been working on is some knitting. So I showed you guys, if you've been following me for a while, I showed you this gorgeous hand spun yarn last year. My friend Sarah from Naughty Gnome Crafts spins yarn. You guys, she's like so multi-talented, it's unbelievable. But this yarn is so gorgeous. It's got all these beautiful, it's got some purples and pinks and greens and yellow. It's just stunning. So I had started I had started knitting something with it last year. I wasn't super happy with that. It was a shawl. I wasn't super happy with how that was coming out, not because of the yarn. I just didn't end up caring for the pattern. So I've been wanting to make this seed stitch ombre wrap. It's a wide wrap, so almost like a scarf, but it's really just very wide. It's a free pattern from Purl Soho, and I'm not doing it in an ombre necessarily, but I am using this gorgeous hand spun yarn from Sarah, and this is what it looks like so far. Uh-oh, I have a hole. So this is the gorgeous hand spun yarn from Sarah, and I'm gonna pair it with the same yarns I was using to pair it with in the shawl, because I think that these colors all really go together. Both of these colors are in this hand spun yarn. So it's not gonna be an ombre, but it is gonna be coordinated. And it's just the blocks of color. So I'm really excited about that. I wanted this color to be on the end. I was afraid if I tried to put it somewhere in the middle that it would end up getting hidden behind me when I wore it. And I wanted to make sure that I could see it when I wore it. So I'm really excited about that. I'm a slow knitter. Sarah knits like crazy fast. I don't, especially on little teeny tiny needles like this. But I love this. So I work on this a little bit. I have to work on it when I'm sitting at the desk watching YouTube videos on my computer, because I can't do it sitting on the couch, because that little guy back there likes to play with my yarn. So I don't get any peace doing it on the couch like I used to so long ago. All right, what I'm working on next is my next version of a jumpsuit. Like I said, I'm gonna scrap the idea of doing the 7909. I just don't think that's gonna work for me. And I am going to Joann's this weekend to pick up a pattern. Simplicity patterns are on sale, and I actually found something that I think will work for me. We will see. It's actually from the plus size assortment, which there's not a whole lot to choose from in the plus size assortment. So we'll see how that works out. And so I still have my fabric that I bought to make the final version of this in. I just need to make sure that I have enough of it now with this new pattern idea. As far as life goes, still in a hotel, not loving that. But my husband is ending his assignment 2 weeks earlier than he planned. So we'll be going home by the end of October instead of the middle of November, which, yay, I'm excited about that. I haven't done as much visiting with my Philly friends as I expected to by now. I did go out and meet a friend of mine for drinks tonight, because I took Hercules to a grooming appointment at 4. And hold on, I'll let you see how fluffy he looks. So this is my fluffy boy. Oh my goodness. I just had him washed and dried. I didn't have his hair cut because we don't know the groomers here. And I have a comfort level with the people that we found in Fort Myers. So we'll get him a cut when we get back to Fort Myers. But yeah, he's just a big old fluffy fluff ball, and he smells like pumpkin spice now instead of stinky stuff. So that's my boy. So I had drinks with my friend tonight, and that was fun. We got caught up for a couple of hours. So I'd love to hear, are you gonna participate in the So Romp Jump Play 22 challenge? If so, tell me what pattern you're making in the comment box. I'd love to hear what you're making. Make sure that you're following me on Instagram, and give me a hi sign so that I can follow you on Instagram as well. And that's it. Wherever you are, I hope the weather's amazing. I hope you're able to get some sewing in, and I will talk to you next time.